Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour. Abu Dhabi's Crown Prince Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan to attend a business forum in Mumbai. Healthcare and biotechnology top the agenda. Pakistan on edge. Several lawmakers detained in late-night swoops on former Prime Minister Imran Khan's party in Islamabad. All eyes on the debate at Philadelphia as US presidential candidates Donald Trump and Kamala Harris gear up for a face-off. Apple unveils iPhone 16 loaded with all new AI features. The US markets respond with a thumbs up. And the end of an era. The US mourns the demise of award-winning actor James Earl Jones. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday chaired the first meeting of the governing board of the Anusandhan National Research Foundation. It set the newly formed foundation's operations into motion. The foundation aims to seed, grow and promote research and development and foster a culture of research and innovation throughout India's universities, colleges, research institutions and R&D laboratories. The foundation acts as an apex body to provide high-level strategic direction of scientific research in the country as per the recommendations of the National Education Policy. Highlighting India's commitment to fostering a forward-looking relationship with the UAE, the UAE-India Business Forum is being organized in Mumbai under the theme of Beyond SEPA, Innovation and Future-Ready Economies. The forum is focusing on key emerging economic sectors between the two countries, including healthcare and biotechnology, AI and emerging technologies, and renewable energy, among others. It's organized by the UAE's Ministry of Economy in collaboration with the UAE Embassy in New Delhi and India's Ministry of Commerce and Industry. The event is part of bilateral efforts to leverage the opportunities created by the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or SEPA.
Today it's 70 billion parameters, and it's the largest group of dialects in Arabic in the world. So we really feel that this is going to follow the same path, if not faster. We want to collect more data in across the Indian languages, I think, of which we already have started collecting a lot more. We want to find partners to work with in India to develop this model collaboratively. And I think in this specific area of AI, we have to work together to develop it. And we really hope that India will embrace this model and take it on and build it with us.
Indian medicines will see a significant share of the business across the globe, and we have already shown that some of those results already. Coming to personalized medicine and AI, I can tell you, I have seen the M42, the way in UAE they have developed. I think it is also a lesson for many of these Indian companies to work together, to collaborate together, and to see how it can bring, better results for us.
The forum will be attended by Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and India's Minister of Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution and Textiles, Piyush Goyal, later in the day. There'll be exchange of agreements between the UAE and Indian companies as well. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is on a two-day visit to Germany. He will hold bilateral meetings with his German counterpart to review relations and explore new avenues of cooperation. The minister's visit to Berlin will lay the groundwork for Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz's visit to India next month. Earlier, Minister Jaishankar concluded his visit to Saudi Arabia. He co-chaired the inaugural India-Gulf Cooperation Council Joint Ministerial Meeting for Strategic Dialogue in Riyadh, where he said that India is one of the largest and fastest growing markets in the world, from where most of the future demand has potential. The minister called upon the Gulf Cooperation Council countries to invest in each other's future and each other's continued prosperity. The minister participated in several bilateral meetings with the foreign ministers of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, including the foreign ministers of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain and Kuwait. On the third and final leg of his three-nation tour, Minister Jaishankar will visit Geneva from September 12th to the 13th. India's new permanent representative to the United Nations, Parvataneni Harish, presented his credentials to the UN Secretary General at the UN headquarters. The ambassador conveyed Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Minister Jaishankar's greetings to the UN chief. The ambassador arrived in New York last week to take charge as India's envoy to the world body. Delivering India's statement at the UN Security Council open debate, Ambassador Harish noted that India is the largest troop contributor to UN peacekeeping in cumulative terms. He also stressed that the Security Council needs to be more representative of today's realities and called for greater representation of Africa in the Council.
The Security Council needs to be more representative of today's realities, particularly in the permanent category. Given that more than half of the Security Council's work is focused on Africa, India has been consistently calling for greater representation of Africa in line with the Azulvini Consensus and the Surte Declaration. The Council should also consider authorizing African Union-led peace support operations.
Ahead of the Assembly election in Haryana, State Chief Minister Nayab Singh Saini filed his nomination from the Ladwa Assembly constituency. Senior Indian Minister and BJP leader Manohar Lal Khattar also accompanied Nayab Singh Saini. Earlier, he inaugurated a party office in Kurukshetra. Voting for the 90-member Legislative Assembly in Haryana will be held on the 5th of October. The last date for filing of nominations is 12 September, while the counting of votes will take place on the 8th of October. State Congress President Uday Bhan also filed his nomination from Hodal, with former State Chief Minister Bhupendra Singh Hooda also with him. The counting of votes for both the Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana assemblies from 4th to the 8th of October. And now take a look at what else is making news in India. The Mahi class ASW shallow watercrafts Malpi and Mulki, 4th and 5th ships of the 8 anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft project being built by Cochin Shipyard for the Indian Navy were launched on Monday in the southern state of Kerala. The ships will be equipped with state-of-the-art underwater sensors and capable to undertake anti-submarine operations in coastal waters and other activities. Torrential rains in the Sonprayag district of the northern state of Uttarakhand caused landslides that claimed 5 lives. A joint operation was undertaken by local administration, the NDRF and the SDRF. The unfavorable weather and the minor landslides posed challenges to the rescue teams, causing them to halt operations, which resumed on Tuesday morning. The 20th edition of India-US Joint Military Exercise Yudh Abhyas 2024 is underway in northwestern Indian city of Bikaner. The Indian Army contingent comprising 600 personnel is being represented by a battalion of the Rajput Regiment along with personnel from other arms and services. The US contingent of similar strength is being represented by the troops of the 124 Battalion of the Alaska-based 11th Airborne Division of the US Army. The aim of the joint exercise is to enhance joint military capability of both sides to undertake counter-terrorism operations in a sub-conventional scenario under Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter. The exercise will focus on operations in the semi-desert environment. All eyes on the US presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. The 90-minute debate hosted by ABC News will take place in the city of Philadelphia at 0100 GMT. Pre-written notes are prohibited and mics will be muted to ensure a fair exchange. Polls indicate a tight race, making this debate crucial in shaping voter opinion. The high-decibel US presidential election campaign has already got worldwide attention. Speeches, statements and allegations by both the camps have in fact become a regular news fodder for global media houses. And spicing it all are the advertisements that either camp is releasing about the other.
The high-stakes race for the White House has become a no-holds-barred verbal duel between US Vice President and Democratic candidate Kamala Harris and Republican nominee and former US President Donald Trump. Apart from speeches and personal assaults, the campaign teams have been rather busy churning out many advertisements. And many of these ads are more about the opponents rather than the policies and issues at helm. Kamala Harris's campaign team has targeted what it claims Trump's lies in one of these ads.
$35 insulin. You know who did that? I did that.
Obviously not true. Here's Joe Biden signing that piece of legislation.
In another advertisement, Harris-Walz's campaign team got a collage of many of Trump's former associates who have now gone against him. On the other hand, Team Trump is also not letting up any efforts to target Kamala Harris's record as the Vice President of the United States. The Trump campaign team has also targeted Biden administration's policies on inflation.
Bidenomics. That is called Bidenomics.
Trump is also endorsing a film made on him by an independent filmmaker. All this part of his campaign. The debate on Tuesday will be one of the most watched TV news shows in the US, with viewers from across the strata glued to their TV screens to know more about the candidates and their views on the issues that matter to each one of them. Also watching rather keenly and to the minutest of details will be the campaign team from both the camps. The debate will surely generate television rating points for TV channel Tuesday night and perhaps news points for the media houses across the globe. But the debate will also prove to be a treasure trove for campaign teams as they search more material for targeted advertisements in the run-up to November 5th polling. Bureau Report, TD India.
Venezuela's opposition leader Maria Corina Machado said that former presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez would continue to fight for the opposition from Spain while she would continue to do so within Venezuela. Meanwhile, Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro, who was accused by the opposition of stealing a July 28 election, expressed respect for his rival Gonzalez's decision. While addressing his weekly TV show, Maduro said that he would keep his word to comply with the agreements made to allow the opposition political leader to leave the country without offering further details.
He conducido este proceso.
I have conducted this process collectively with a team, but personally. I keep my word to comply with the agreements and first to keep the secrets that must be kept. I could tell you many things from the inside about how the process went, but I reserve the constitutional right to state secrecy.
Meanwhile, White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said that Venezuelan President Maduro needs to release election data from July's disputed election to address global concerns about its validity.
I won't get into hypotheticals one way or another about Mr. Gonzalez and what his future might be. He wouldn't have had to seek political asylum if he wasn't accused of trumped-up, ridiculous charges and forced in that manner to flee his own country. What needs to happen next is Mr. Maduro needs to heed the call of the international community and, quite frankly, the Venezuelan people and release the data so that the whole world can see what the Venezuelan people, who they voted for, and that their democratic aspirations are met.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visits the UK. EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell says ready to help reopen Rafah border between Gaza and Egypt.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Ukraine attacked Russia with 144 drones in an overnight attack over the Ramkinskoye region of the capital Moscow on Tuesday. This is the biggest ever attack on Russia. It killed 1 woman and injured at least 3. Russia claims they shot down at least 20 drones, while 2 high-rise apartment buildings were damaged and several flats caught fire. 43 people were evacuated to temporary accommodation centers. Major airports were closed and more than 30 flights were suspended in the capital. Emergency crews were dispatched to nearby regions. Meanwhile, at least 3 people were injured in an overnight Russian drone and missile strike across 13 Ukrainian regions. Ukraine's Air Force shot down 38 out of 46 drones. Several buildings were damaged as the strike caused fire across Cherkasy, Kyiv and Kherson cities. Ukraine's energy ministry claims that energy infrastructure in 8 regions were attacked by Russian forces in the previous 24 hours, leading to disrupted high voltage lines and power substations in several regions. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is on a 2-day visit to the United Kingdom to hold discussions on the Russia-Ukraine and West Asia conflicts. Blinken is scheduled to meet Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Foreign Secretary David Lammy to discuss efforts to support Ukraine. The leaders will also hold talks on the UK-US strategic dialogue and cover areas of defense and security. Blinken will also meet senior government officials to discuss issues including the Indo-Pacific, the AUKUS defense pact between the US, Australia and Britain, the situation in West Asia and collective efforts to support Ukraine. EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell on Monday said the European Union is ready to leverage its logistics to assist in reopening the border crossing. In a visit to Egypt's side of the Rafah border crossing, Borrell also mentioned sanctions proposed against ministers, agencies and institutions implicated in the illegal expansion of colonies in the West Bank. Borrell toured the border operations guided by the Egyptian Red Crescent and met in Cairo with the country's president, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi.
I made a proposal to the Foreign Affairs Council Minister to impose sanctions in 2 Israeli government ministers for hate speech. And the Council discussed about it and decided to go to the technical bodies. It's still not yes, it's still not no. I don't know which will be the final result, but it's still not no. The technical bodies of the Council are working on it. There are not only these 2 ministers, but also some agencies, some institutions which we believe are responsible for the illegal expansion of colonies in the West Bank, which are also being...
The United States called on Israel on Monday to complete a full inquiry into the killing of an American-Turkish woman last week in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. In a briefing, U.S. State Department Deputy Spokesperson Vedant Patel urged Israel to quickly and robustly conduct its probe and make the findings public, but confirmed the administration is not planning to independently investigate the killing of Ehsanur Ezgi Egi. Meanwhile, hundreds of mourners gathered in Nablus in the occupied West Bank to pay respects to a U.S.-Turkish activist.
We have urged a swift, thorough, and transparent investigation and are urgently working to get more information as possible as it relates to the circumstances of her death. We have no higher priority than the safety and security of American citizens, especially those that are abroad. our understanding is that our partners in Israel are looking into the circumstances of what happened, and we expect them to make their findings public, and expect that whatever those findings are, expect them to be thorough and transparent.
Germany's government announced plans to impose tighter controls at all of its land borders in what is called an attempt to tackle irregular migration and protect the public from various threats. Germany's Interior Minister Nancy Faeser said the controls within the European Schengen zone will start on 16 September and initially last 6 months. The government has also designed a scheme enabling authorities to reject more migrants directly at German borders. The restrictions are part of a series of measures Germany has taken to tighten stance on irregular migration in the past few years. The measures heightened after deadly knife attacks, killing 3 in which the suspects were asylum seekers, raising concerns over immigration. The Islamic State group claimed responsibility for the attacks. Germany is also working closely with neighboring countries in its border control decision. Austria's Interior Minister Gerhard Kahner said on Monday that his country would not take in any migrants turned away by Germany at the border. The House of Cardin has edged a step closer to the late founder Pierre Cardin's dream of walking on the moon. The Space Age label has teamed up with the European Space Agency to design the suits that astronauts will use for training at the new lunar simulation facility in Cologne, Germany, to prepare for future missions to the moon. German astronaut Matthias Maurer was mobbed by media photographers on Monday as he stepped into the bulky prototype suit at the Cardin headquarters. Kate Middleton, Britain's Princess of Wales, announced on Monday that she had finished a course of preventative chemotherapy for cancer and would be carrying out a handful of public engagements later this year. But she added that her path to full recovery would be long. As part of the latest announcement, Kensington Palace released a highly personal video of Kate with William and their 3 children. Further, she said that the last 9 months have been incredibly tough, and the cancer journey is complex, scary and unpredictable for everyone. 42-year-old Kate underwent major abdominal surgery in January, which revealed the presence of cancer, and has been undergoing treatment since then. The harmful effects of social media, especially on younger minds, has been a topic of debate in many countries. Many have advocated a ban on access to such sites for the kids, while others have insisted on a different approach. Now, Australia has said that it will bring a law that will ban children's access to social media platforms. Here's a report.
Australia will introduce federal legislation to keep children off social media this year. The plan is to ban children from using social media with a minimum age limit as high as 16. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has described the impact of the sites on young people as a scourge. The minimum age for children to log into such sites as Facebook, Instagram is expected to be between 14 and 15 years. Australia's Conservative opposition leader Peter Dutton said he would support the government's proposed age limit. Analysts warn, however, that an age limit may not help troubled children. Many experts are also skeptical as they say that it is not even clear that the technology exists to reliably enforce such ban. But the Prime Minister said that parents expected a response to online bullying and the access social media gave to harmful material. Australia's move may or may not have open support from many quarters, but it will surely be keenly watched by concerned governments from all over the world, as worries and concerns grow about harmful effects of excessive use and exposure to the social media platforms. Bureau Report, DD India.
All right, now take a look at what else is making news around the world. In a global summit, South Korea announced a blueprint for action to govern the responsible use of AI in the military. The document lays out the need to prevent AI from being used to proliferate weapons of mass destruction and the importance of maintaining human control and involvement in nuclear weapons employment. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un announced that the country is adopting a nuclear force construction policy aimed at exponentially increasing its nuclear arsenal. He emphasized the need for North Korea to enhance its nuclear capability and readiness to ensure state security effectively. Pope Francis blessed and held hands with a disabled child during a visit to the Irmas Alma School for Children with Disabilities in East Timor on Tuesday. More than 600,000 people gathered in East Timor ahead of Mass with Pope Francis. Helicopters were seen battling the airport fire near California's Rancho Santa Margarita on Monday, with thick clouds of dark smoke visible. As Southern California deals with a late summer heat wave, the airport fire in Orange County has burned 292 acres. At least one person died and 16 others suffered smoke inhalation poisoning in Lambayeque state of Peru as it battled wildfires on Sunday. The wildfires are threatening 64,000 pine tree seedlings, causing damage to the local economy. Residents have been asked to evacuate the district, and authorities have sought support from the Peruvian Air Force to combat the fires. Now, the Amazon in Brazil is facing one of its most severe droughts in recent years. Water levels in the rivers have fallen, and access to clean water has become an uphill task for locals. Next report gets you more.
In the heart of the Brazilian Amazon, a drought is putting lives at risk. The usually lush and vibrant region is facing an unprecedented water crisis as rivers dry up. Residents are struggling as they have to walk miles to fetch water. The plummeting water levels in rivers have deprived them of their traditional source of water. Now they are forced to buy tanks. The costs are taking a toll on the already impoverished rural community.
Without water, nobody lives. There is no way. Here, you can get water day and night. There is always water. I don't charge a penny. I pay for the water, but I don't charge them anything.
The elderly and sick are amongst the hardest hit, facing severe health risks as access to clean water becomes increasingly scarce.
About 800 meters, that's the distance of the beach. Now imagine a person in the hot sun, people with high blood pressure doing this journey. It gets difficult, very difficult. That is why we saw the need to mobilize.
The drought has been aggravated by wildfires, deforestation and rising temperatures. To make the situation worse, the Brazilian Geological Service has warned that water levels in more rivers in the Amazon basin are expected to hit historical lows. Bureau Report, DD India.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. A discussion on the arrest of lawmakers in Pakistan belonging to the party of jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan. Sri Lanka's Election Commission calls a meeting of presidential candidates. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. A quick recap of the headlines. Abu Dhabi's Crown Prince Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan to attend a business forum in Mumbai. Healthcare and biotech top the agenda. Pakistan on edge. Several lawmakers detained in late-night swoops on former Prime Minister Imran Khan's party in Islamabad. And all eyes on the debate at Philadelphia as US presidential candidates Donald Trump and Kamala Harris gear up for a face-off. Pakistan's police detained several lawmakers and leaders of former Prime Minister Imran Khan's party in raids a day after it held a major rally in Islamabad to demand his release. Police detained 4 individuals, a spokesperson said, although the party claimed that 13 have been picked up from various places in Islamabad, including some from outside Parliament. Party leader Zulfikar Bukhari, a former minister, said that among those picked up by the police were Pakistan's Tehreek-e-Insaf chairperson Gohar Khan, a third person and a senior PTI member. Khan's party, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, won the most seats in the general election in February, but a coalition of his rivals was able to form a government led by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. And joining me is Dr. TCA Raghavan. He is a former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan. Ambassador Raghavan, welcome to DD India News App. Now, what do you make of the protests organized by Imran Khan's party? Would it snowball into something bigger?
Well, this is part of the continuing confrontation between the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, which is former Prime Minister Imran Khan's party, and the government. And behind the government is, of course, the Pakistan military. And for the past year, there have been a number of small and big confrontations. And while at every stage it appears that something big is looming, but in the end, the pressure gets reduced till the next confrontation stage begins. So I don't think this particular episode will mean that something dramatic is going to change. But yes, it does show the very unsettled nature of Pakistan politics currently. And secondly, it shows the intensity of the civil-military confrontation which is taking place over there. The fact is that, to everybody's surprise, Imran Khan, notwithstanding all the pressures which have been brought to bear on him, has taken a very defiant posture vis-a-vis the Pakistan military. And in doing so, his support amongst not just his constituents, but his support amongst many people in Pakistan has grown and consolidated. So it is this peculiar situation in Pakistan where a sizable political party is faced up against the Pakistan military. In the longer course of Pakistan's history, this kind of situation has occurred many times before. And it shows the intensity of civil-military confrontations which periodically rock that country.
Indeed. Ambassador, you raised a number of valid points that you spoke about how this is not something new to Pakistan. Small and big confrontations have taken place in the past. You spoke about the unsettled nature of Pakistani politics and civil-military relations as well. I want to touch upon these things in this course of the discussion, Ambassador. Do you think the protests and subsequent arrests of the party's lawmakers will force the government or the army to change their stance or attitude?
There are reports of a number of negotiations which are taking place, so to say, with back channels or through intermediaries to see whether some kind of a rapprochement is possible between the Pakistan military and former Prime Minister Imran Khan. So far, nothing has really worked. And part of the reason for this is that Imran Khan realizes that his support is substantial. And even if it is silent support, nevertheless, that support exists in many parts of the country. And therefore, he doesn't want to negotiate from a weak position despite being in jail. The military or the Pakistan army also is adamant that they don't want to have a larger-than-life political figure dominating Pakistan's politics and have already been have a somewhat cynical view of Imran Khan's politics. So while there is scope for compromise, the details are such that perhaps a compromise or a settlement will not be that easy. There are also major differences between the parties who currently form the government with the military's support and between them and Imran Khan. And there also the chances of some kind of a settlement are somewhat difficult to foresee.
So we discussed about the protest itself. We've spoken about the government and the army. And what you said just now gives me a perfect segue to my next question to you, Ambassador. How do you assess Imran Khan's future in Pakistani politics? Does he have a future at all?
Well, in politics, nobody can ever be written off.
True.
Who would have thought even 3 years ago that Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's party would be back in government and that his brother would be the Prime Minister of Pakistan? It was, if someone had talked about this 3 years ago, it would have been dismissed as a bizarre suggestion. So in politics, nobody can be written off, and Pakistan's politicians have a long reach and certainly very, very strong public sentiments are associated with them. So I don't think that you can write off former Prime Minister Imran Khan from Pakistan's politics.
And finally, Ambassador, we've seen what is happening in Balochistan, the unrest there, and now this, the PTI protest seeking Imran Khan's release. No end to Pakistan's problems. Where do you see the situation go from here?
I think the situation will remain at a low plateau of stability or may even continue to deteriorate with there is a major internal security situation which Pakistan faces, both because of the numerous from the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. There's also a major economic crisis which shows no signs of settling down, and then there is the unsettled nature of Pakistan's politics. So all of this means that Pakistan will remain largely in a somewhat fragile and self-absorbed stage. So I don't see any signs that that this very difficult period in Pakistan's history is going to come to an end anytime soon.
All right, we'll leave it there. Ambassador Raghavan, thank you once again for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And in more news from South Asia, in Sri Lanka, as the presidential election draws near, the Election Commission has been issuing guidelines for the conduct of the polls. The poll body had summoned all the candidates contesting the presidential election in the island nation and their representatives for a discussion. The meeting focused on election finance regulations and other guidelines. At the meeting, some candidates shared their concerns with the Election Commission on the use of state resources and the conduct of certain media institutions as well. Meanwhile, a separate discussion was also held with election observers at the National Election Commission this afternoon. The presidential election is scheduled to be held on the 21st of September. A special report from Afghanistan, a country where millions of children are malnourished. A total of 700 have died in just the last 6 months in one hospital alone. The UN says more than 3 million children under the age of 5 are malnourished. The situation has become increasingly dire in recent months because of the economic collapse and a prolonged conflict. Malnutrition in children, particularly severe acute malnutrition, can lead to lifelong consequences, weakened immune systems, making them more prone to disease and health complications. India's Home Minister Amit Shah unveiled key initiatives to tackle cybercrime on Tuesday. The minister was attending the first Foundation Day celebration of the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Centre, also known as the I4C, where he launched 4 important initiatives aimed at promoting cyber safety and security, including starting a cyber fraud mitigation center. Now, these efforts aim to bolster India's cyber security with platforms such as the Suspect Registry and Coordination Platform. The minister highlighted legislative advancements such as the Indian Judicial Code.
साइबर कमांडो परियोजना का शुभारंभ हुआ है। 5 साल में लगभग 5000 साइबर कमांडोज तैयार करने का लक्ष्य रखा गया है और समन्वय प्लेटफॉर्म वो भी एक प्रकार से बहुत उपयोगी साबित होने वाला है। 2024 में एक यूपीआई के ट्रांजैक्शन को ही ले ले तो 20,64,000 करोड़ के रकम का लेन देन हमने डिजिटली किया है और 46% विश्व का डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन का वॉल्यूम आज भारत में हो रहा है। मैं ये इसलिए बता रहा हूं कि एक प्रकार से सिद्धि है कि दुनिया में आधे डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन भारत में हो रहे हैं।
India's Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Kiren Rijiju, met with the members of the Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs and Defence from Norway on Tuesday. The minister welcomed Norway's parliamentary delegation while at the new parliamentary building of the capital, New Delhi. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Apple unveils its artificial intelligence-boosted iPhone 16 range of smartphones. SpaceX to launch a private crew on breakthrough spacewalk mission. And India gives a rousing reception to its athletes who took part in the Paris Paralympics.
Welcome to Chandigarh.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Big tech major Apple unveiled its artificial intelligence-boosted iPhone 16 range of smartphones at its flagship Glow Time event in Cupertino Monday night. Apple bets the AI feature will drive consumers to upgrade amid a slowdown in iPhone sales. Apple Intelligence is the company's AI software. Apple's AI features are designed to transform its virtual assistant Siri into smarter and more versatile with new features such as creating customized emojis within seconds. A test version of Apple Intelligence will be available in the US version of the English language next month. It will be available for other localized versions of English in December, with versions in languages including Chinese, French, Japanese, and Spanish next year. The iPhone 16 lineup is the first Apple smartphone designed around these AI features. A crew of 4 private SpaceX astronauts are in the final stages of preparation on Tuesday. SpaceX is set to launch billionaire's private crew on a breakthrough spacewalk mission using the company's new spacesuits and a redesigned spacecraft. A billionaire entrepreneur, a retired military fighter pilot, and 2 SpaceX employees are poised to launch from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida aboard SpaceX's Crew Dragon capsule, the spacecraft's 5th private space mission. Permitted to resume Falcon 9 flights, the Polaris mission is now set for a launch on Tuesday, although with only a 40% chance of favorable weather. Alphabet's Google on Tuesday lost its fight against a $2.42 billion euro fine levied by European Union antitrust regulators 7 years ago, one of a trio of hefty fines meted out to the company for various anti-competitive practices. The European Commission fined the world's most popular internet search engine in 2017 for using its own price comparison shopping service to gain an unfair advantage over smaller European rivals. European and US stock markets bounced higher after big pre-weekend falls over concerns about the health of the US economy. US futures spared some of their gains on Tuesday. And as the currency markets, the dollar edged down on Tuesday before US inflation data and the televised US presidential debate, with the euro weighed by an expected rate cut by the European Central Bank on Thursday. European stocks staged a comeback, with the benchmark stock 600 recovering as investors await an expected interest rate cut from the European Central Bank. The pan-European stock 600 index rose 0.82%, while London's FTSE futures lost 0.34%. Globally, investors remain focused on Wednesday's US inflation report, which would likely provide more clarity on whether the Federal Reserve could deliver an outsized 50 basis point cut when it meets next week. And as they opened on Tuesday, the Asian markets inched slightly higher, however, struggled to sustain an upbeat rally on Wall Street as concerns about a faltering Chinese economy dampened the market mood. In early trade Tuesday, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Seoul, Sydney, Singapore, Taipei, Wellington, Manila and Jakarta all rose, though Shanghai dipped. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan was last up 0.14%, languishing near a one-month low hit in the previous session. Its gains were capped by a slump in Chinese stocks. China's CSI 300 blue chip index fell to a 7-month trough and last traded 0.52% lower. And now to updates from the Indian stock markets. The Indian equity benchmark indices open in green. The BSE Sensex and Nifty 50 are trading higher on Tuesday, tracking overnight gains in the US markets that closed sharply higher on Monday. Around noon, the BSE Sensex was up 0.4%, while the Nifty 50 was at 25,028, up 0.37%. And now to news from the world of sport. Indian Paralympic athletes were given a hero's welcome upon their return to New Delhi after a historic performance at the Paris Paralympics. Fans, relatives and well-wishers gathered in large numbers to celebrate the athletes' achievements.
India's Paralympic athletes were greeted with a grand reception at the IGI airport in Delhi on Tuesday. The last group of athletes, including gold medalist Sumit Antal, Harvinder Singh, Navdeep Singh and bronze medal winner Sheetal Devi, returned home to an overwhelming show of support. Fans, family members and officials showered the champions with flower petals and garlands. The atmosphere was electric, with drum beats, loud cheers and banners celebrating their success. The athletes expressed their gratitude for the immense support they received from the government and fans.
बहुत बड़ी अचीवमेंट है और काफ़ी अच्छा लगा टाइटल को डिफेंड करके और कोशिश करेंगे एलए में भी इसे बरकरार रखें। कोशिश यही रहती है कि अपना बेस्ट दें, जो पिछला गल था उससे बेहतर करें आज के टाइम में। बस यही है कि रिकॉर्ड पे रिकॉर्ड हो रहे हैं। सरकार का पूरा सहयोग मिल रहा है, तभी इतनी बड़ी अचीवमेंट पॉसिबल है किसी भी एथलीट के लिए। मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा सरकार का भी कि इतना अच्छा सहारा दिया उन्होंने और उनकी वजह से ही आई थिंक ये मेडल है हमारे पास।
बहुत मज़ा आ रहा है, बहुत अच्छी है कि देश के लिए मेडल जीत कर यहाँ पे आए और इतना वार्म वेलकम हो रहा है। हमारे जो तीरंदाजी परिवार है, साई की तरफ से, इंडियन आर्चरी, यहाँ पे मेरे सारे कोचेस, मेरी फैमिली सारी पहुंची हुई है, तो बहुत मज़ा आ रहा है। मैं समझता हूँ कि ये स्पोर्ट है जो हमें गवर्नमेंट की अभी मिली, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में जो हमने इन्वेस्ट किया, उसकी वजह से हमारे एचपीडी सर, एचपीसी सर, इंडियन आर्चरी साइट, टॉप्स, एलजीक्यू, जो भी डिफरेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस है जो वो पूरा सपोर्ट कर रही हैं। और अभी मुझे याद है 3-4 महीने पहले कोरियन एक्सपर्ट कोच है, उनको इंडिया में बुलाया गया। हालांकि मैं कोरिया जाने का सोच रहा था, लेकिन फिर उनको ही इधर बुला लिया गया। सब एथलीट्स को फ़ायदा हुआ।
बहुत ही अच्छा लग रहा है कि यह मेरा पैरालंपिक्स था पहला ही, तो बहुत ही अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा हमारा। बहुत खुशी है हमने कि अपने देश के लिए हमने मेडल जीता। बहुत खुशी है कि सब माला पहनाए आए हमें, मैं तो बहुत खुश हूँ।
The celebration at the airport wasn't just about the medals, it was a moment of pride, unity and immense gratitude for the athletes who overcame all odds to make their country proud. Smiles, tears and embraces filled the airport as families reunited with their champions. This homecoming marked a special chapter in India's sporting history, with the athletes being hailed as true inspiration for millions across the nation. Narayan Singh for DD India.
To tennis now, Yannick Sinner tightened his grip on the #1 spot in the latest ATP rankings released on Monday after winning the US Open 2024. Taylor Fritz, who fell just short of becoming the first American men's singles Grand Slam champion in 21 years, jumped 5 spots to return to the top 10. Meanwhile, defending champion Novak Djokovic slipped to 4th place after suffering a shocking loss to Australia's Alexei Popyrin in the 3rd round of the US Open, while 2020 runner-up Alexander Zverev has jumped up to take his place. England captain Harry Kane will receive his 100th cap for the country when England will host Finland in the Nations League at Wembley. The 31-year-old Bayern Munich striker, who has scored 66 goals in 99 appearances for England since his debut in 2015, is the first Englishman to achieve this feat since striker Wayne Rooney in November of 2014. The Football Association is set to pay tribute before the UEFA Nations League fixture with a special pre-match ceremony that will include the presentation of a gold cap. Informed Germany want to build on their strong start to the Nations League when they take on the Netherlands in Amsterdam on Tuesday night. Julian Nagelsmann's side opened their campaign with a resounding 5-0 win against Hungary on Saturday and arrive in the Dutch capital full of confidence. The new-look German side, without the recently retired Thomas Müller, Toni Kroos and Manuel Neuer, have set their sights on the 2026 World Cup after their quarter-final run at the Euros on home soil in July. Germany's coach Julian Nagelsmann said their approach will more or less be the same as that against Hungary. Meanwhile, in the other Group A3 match on Tuesday, Hungary will host Bosnia in Budapest.
We always look at what we know about how the opponent starts a match as usual. Of course, we also look at how they play out their chances and score goals. That's also part of it. But we aren't thinking of changing everything about the game compared to the match against Hungary. A lot also worked well there. There are also certainly a few things we can do similarly against the Netherlands tomorrow.
Achillessehne, Wadenübergang, aber das.
Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, and Piyush Goyal, India's Minister of Commerce and Industry and Textiles, are present at the UAE India Business Forum in Mumbai.
Torchbearers of a relationship that has over time matured to become a bond that can never break. All our distinguished delegates on this very important UAE India Business Forum, a very, very warm welcome to you in my home city of Mumbai. I would at the outset like to invite all of us in this room to give a standing ovation to His Highness for his leadership of the UAE and this wonderful partnership. Thank you very much, friends. Your Highness, This has been a very, very much anticipated visit, albeit very short, but sweet. And taking on from the wonderful discussions that were held yesterday with the Honorable Prime Minister of India, where I think both leaders connected so well, so beautifully, that it just didn't feel like we had a leader from another country. It was as if he was one amongst us, one of our very own. And as we were discussing, Your Highness, it was almost as if a member of the family meeting Prime Minister Modi, a son meeting his father, his uncle. And I must say that the depth of knowledge, the inquisitive curiosity that His Highness showed during the discussions, his deep understanding of modern technology, the geopolitical changes in the world, very appropriately define him as a leader of tomorrow. And I'm sure under His Highness's leadership, while on the one hand, the UAE is seeing transformational change, this partnership, this beautiful relationship is also going to witness a great transformation, a great future. Thank you very much, Your Highness, for your leadership. And together, this relationship, standing on the pillars of innovation, investment, and sustainable development, holds an outstanding future going forward. Friends, this transformation is very much in sync with the 50-year vision that the UAE has embarked upon, and Honorable Prime Minister's own transformational journey for India, the Viksit Bharat. Our effort to make India a developed nation, a prosperous nation by 2047, when we celebrate 100 years of independence. Yesterday, we also had a very unique, I wouldn't call it a coincidence, but I would call it a beautiful moment. His Highness visited Rajghat, and the only time in our history that a third generation leader has planted a sapling at the Rajghat. His late grandfather in 1952, his illustrious father, His Highness, the King of UAE, in 1996, and now in 2024, His Highness Sheikh Khalid planted a sapling. Once again demonstrating that this bond is everlasting. Your Highness, if I may quote from a very famous advertisement that a company in India started some years ago, but it has almost become legendary. It's probably on every Indian's lips. I'll say it in Hindi so that everybody will resonate with it, and then I'll translate it. We have this product which is a glue manufactured by a company. It's called Fevicol. It's a binding glue, and the advertisement says, "ये फेविकॉल का मजबूत जोड़ है, टूटता नहीं। फेविकॉल ऐसे जोड़ लगाए, अच्छे से अच्छा ना तोड़ पाए." And it translates, this is a bond, this is a joint connected by Fevicol. It is so strong that it can never break. And then it goes on to say, Fevicol makes a bond such that the best and the strongest of person will never be able to break that bond. And I think what I have seen in the last 3 days, when His Highness has been in India, this is one bond that will be the defining friendship, relationship, and brotherhood of this decade and beyond. Thank you very much, Your Highness, for your leadership. Your Highness, you have come to Mumbai at a very auspicious time. We are celebrating a festival, Ganpati, Ganesh Chaturthi. He is a god whom all of us in India look up to whenever we start anything new. When we enter a new home, we start an office, we start a new business, or any good occasion in life, we start by praying to Lord Ganesha. In fact, Mr. Ambani had Lord Ganesha at his home till, I think, day after tomorrow. I had Lord Ganesha in my home in Delhi, and I had the privilege of welcoming Dr. Thani and Excellency the Ambassador in my home in the Ganesh festivities. And all of us in India really hold this as a very, very auspicious period. Your visit during this period is truly godsend, if I may say so. And this gathering in Mumbai is a very fitting beginning to our new beginning of a new chapter in the UAE-India relationship that we are writing under your leadership, Your Highness. Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi had said, we regard the UAE as an important partner in India's growth story. The 50-year vision, India's Viksit Bharat vision, all of this is encompassed in several visits and exchanges between the two countries. And Your Highness, your visit is the 6th high-level visit in less than a year between UAE and India. It shows how important this relationship is to both countries. It shows the deep value all of us in this room give to this relationship and the several pivotal initiatives that we have taken. The local currency settlement, which first started between UAE and India. It can be a game changer in terms of bringing down our cost of trade and take the relationship and our trade to greater heights. The JAFSA Dubai is now going to host the Bharat Mart. The SIPA is truly going to start a new chapter in expanding our trade. We have a relationship that started with the dhows coming from UAE to Mumbai, and your visit today to Mumbai is going to now take technology and artificial intelligence and whatnot between the two countries and exchange all sorts of investment possibilities and trade possibilities. I thank all investors. I thank all business persons. I thank all our excellencies. And above all, I thank you, Your Highness, for your gracious presence. And I'm sure your presence will encourage all of us to reset this relationship to even greater heights. In conclusion, again, a small quote from another advertisement for television sets, which says, "Owner's pride, neighbor's envy." That summarizes the UAE-India partnership. It is our pride and will be the envy of the rest of the world. Thank you very much, Your Highness.
You were listening to India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal addressing an India-UAE business forum in Mumbai on the occasion of the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi's visit to India. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India News Hour. You can get all the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download it. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.